Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Haley, and today I'm gonna tell a story time video because I've had quite a few questions about why I'm out of work, and that's gonna be explained right now. But before I do that, I did this pretty little look today, which I did make a video on, but there was too much background noise from this little man over here. So I will be remaking it, I promise, but there are all the details on what products I used on my Instagram for my makeup channel, or this YouTube channel too. It's Haley May _makeup. So go ahead and check that out, and you can follow me on there. But anyway, on my story time. My story time today is about my shoulder and my wonderful luck. So anyway, how I injured it. So it was it was before Thanksgiving, of course. Of course, everything bad happens before the holidays, you know. So it was before Thanksgiving, probably about almost 5 years ago, I think it was. And, you know, turkeys are heavy, especially the frozen ones. Frozen, they weigh more, but the turkeys that we sell, because I work at a grocery store, they range from, like, you can get, like, a small little half turkey for, like, 10, 12 pounds, all the way up to, like, a big turkey for, like, 40 pounds. So this family, of course, got a giant turkey. And it was frozen, which made it double the weight, of course. So I was holding on to, like, the little handle that was on it, not really thinking about it, and just so it wouldn't, like, slide and smash everything at the end of the belt, you know. And so I'm talking to my customer, you know, typing on the check stand, like, hi, how you doing? You know, going on my great day, having a good time. And somebody turned the belt on at the end of the check stand. And my arm, of course, I didn't want to smash their stuff. And I wasn't really thinking at the time, but my arm twisted and went backwards like this. So it was like an awkward angle. And I actually ended up going backwards like this, and I dislocated my shoulder on a frozen turkey in front of a lot of people. So being me, I'm not a really big crier when I get hurt. I was just kind of had that look of, like you're screaming internally. So I hit that, and being me, I turned around, and I, like the backboards on the backs of check stands, I turned around, I held my arm down, and I just slammed it into the check stand back, and I ended up pushing it back in. Thankfully, like, I was like, good, I can keep working, like, this is great. So after I took care of that customer, sorry, sitting on my feet, they were kind of like, you okay? Like, are you good? And I was like, oh, I'm fine, like tucking my arm into my apron in pain. And my coworkers behind me and everyone who was around there saw, obviously. So I tucked it in my apron, took care of the customer, turned the light off on my check stand to go let my boss know. I let him know, just, you know, hey, just dislocated my shoulder. I got it back in, just let you know in case there's a future issue. He goes, okay, well, can you keep working? I was like, yeah, I should be okay. I'm just going to tuck it in my apron. I'm only here another hour. So I continued my shift with one arm because it was super busy. It wasn't like I could leave and we had some backup, you know. We were short on people. It was holiday season. It was sick season too, so a lot of people were getting sick on top of it. So I had finished my shift, went home. I think I had like the next day off or something. I was fine. I just iced it, whatever. You know, it always kind of hurt. It was always a little sore, but I didn't think anything of it. I was kind of like, oh, you know, from that one time I dislocated it. So come to August 2018, I was talking to my friends, you know, I was just kind of, you know, we're in training, we're told to stretch and move. That way we don't get sore. So I was just stretching my arms out, just kind of, you know, like lifting them up and just kind of moving around, moving my back. And I go to lift like this, just to kind of, you know, stretch above my head, and it locks. Not thinking, I was like, okay, you know what? I forced my arm up and dislocated it again. So a couple of my friends were standing there, both witnessed it, both heard the pop. I've got a customer at the end of my check stand unloading her groceries. She heard it too, and she looks at me, she's like, what was that? I go, well, that was my shoulder. You know, the same, like, watery eyes, trying not to cry, like, it's okay, I'll be fine. You just keep unloading your stuff. Like, I'm fine. My friends, I turn around, both our faces are like, you okay? And I'm like, I'll be fine. This is great. So I just turn around again, slam it back into spot. But I was like, I'm good. It hurt the rest of the day because that was literally like the first hour of my shift. I did that. So I just let the key carrier that came on duty know. The key carrier is the front end manager. So they basically take care of the front for the day. So I just let them know because our higher up managers were not in that day. Just let them know, like, hey, I just dislocated my shoulder. Just letting you know. It kind of hurts, but I'm fine. I'll just throw a pain patch on it, which is those like Salon Paws icy hot patches. I was like, I'll just throw one of those. I'll be fine. So they let me go and grab one, and then I came back, hopped in my check stand after I put it on. The next day, this is where I realized how bad I messed up. I pick up my lunch pail out of my car, and I was supposed to start at like, I think I was working like 9 to 6 or 10 to 7 or something that day. Pick up my lunch pail, had like a couple water bottles, just some chips, a sandwich, just basic lunch things. And I feel it slide. Like I felt it literally just slide out of the socket. And I could feel it. I didn't think anything of it at the time. I was like, oh, yeah, maybe I just rolled it wrong. It just hurts. And then I realized I couldn't really move it. So I was holding everything on my left arm and walking inside. And I just went and grabbed another one of those pain patches over by the pharmacy. Didn't think of it. I found one of my best friends. I go, hey, can you come and help me put this on? And she goes, yeah, no problem. I take off my jacket. And her face just goes, oh. I'm like, what's wrong? She goes, you need to go to the office right now. You need to go get your shoulder fixed. And I'm like, you sure? It was like, it really hurt. She goes, no, I would go in. You need to leave. So I hadn't clocked in yet. I had like 10 minutes to clock in. So I walk in the office, and my manager's face just drops. And he goes, what did you do? I said, well, I dislocated yesterday, but I did it a few years ago. So I knew what I did. Didn't think anything of it. I was like, can I just go get it fixed and come back? Thinking I was going to go somewhere, they're going to pop it back in, and I'll come right back to work, right? That's just me. And he goes, you need to go get your shoulder fixed. You're not going to come back today. Just call me and give me an update if you can come in or not tomorrow. I said, okay, no problem. So I go to the urgent care down the street because it was literally like up the street. I walk in, I get checked in, I do my waiting time, and they take me back. The doctor walks in and looks at me and goes, I'll be right back. I go, okay, no problem. Comes back with another doctor, and apparently he's a specialist in like orthopedic and all that. He just looks at it, because I had a tank top on underneath. Just looks at it and goes, we'll be back. And they walk out in the hallway together. I can hear them talking, but you know, they had like the thick wooden doors for privacy at doctor's offices. It's kind of like you can hear, but you can't quite hear. So they're talking, and the other doctor that first came in walks back and he goes, we can't treat you. We're not going to charge you. You need to go to emergency room right now. You need to be sedated. Your shoulder is completely detached. Nothing is, he's like, we can't fix that. So you need to go to an emergency room immediately. So I go, oh, okay, this is actually serious. Then I looked in the mirror in there. My shoulder was sitting up here and out. So imagine your shoulder bone just sitting right here. You could see the bones in it and everything. Like you could see where it's popped. Like I could see this whole front of my bone just sitting up here. And I'm a skinny person, so my bones stick out anyway, but it was like up to here, and I was like, oh, now I see where everybody's looking at me like that. Okay. So I get in my car, because obviously somebody's going to have to drive me because I'm being sedated. So I let my mom know what's going on, because I told her everything, obviously. Let my mom know, hey, I have to go to the emergency room. They have to sedate me and put my shoulder back in place. And she goes, oh, no, are you okay? I was like, I'm fine. I was like, my dad had him. So I was like, I'll be fine. You know, you guys don't worry about it. I already called Jack, my boyfriend, to come pick me up and take me. So he gets out of work because they have an emergency number for their work. So I called his work. They released him. And he takes me to the ER. We're sitting in the waiting room. They check me in. And then I go to the evaluating area. The nurses look at each other like this. They're like, are you in pain? I was like, yeah, probably about a 7 to an 8. And they're like, you're not crying. I go, no, I was like, it hurts, but I'm not a crier. And they were just in shock. Like, the the guy nurse looked at it, and he's like, how did you even do this? And he's like, I had a guy come in yesterday who dislocated his shoulder, and he was bawling. And he goes, and yours is worse than his was. He's like, yours is completely out. He's like, his was just partially. And so they pick up the walkie-talkie. She picks it up at this point, the female does. And she goes, I need a bed ready for sedation immediately. I have a dislocated shoulder. So I need a crew immediately. So they walk me back, and like they take me, there's like 2 doors. One is for kind of like you need to be seen, but you're not dying. And the other is like, you've got a broken arm, like you got your head busted open, that like more of like a serious matter. Like that's the side that needs to be taken care of immediately versus the side that can wait a little bit, So they take me to the side that needs to be dealt with immediately. Like I'd never been to that side of the hospital. I've actually only been to the hospital a couple times. I'd never been to that side. My mom used to go to that side all the time, but I'd never been to that side. So they get me in. They get me in a bed, in a gown, and everything right away. Like, no questions. I'm in a bed. Like, within probably 10 minutes of me walking in the hospital, I'm in a bed. They're giving me painkillers. They are preparing me for an IV. They are taking x-rays. Like, everything's... So, yeah. So, they gave me Norco, ran me to x-ray. They came back. The nurse started cleaning my arm because they were preparing to sedate me. And the doctor that was going to be putting my shoulder back comes into the room. I hadn't seen him yet. He comes in and he goes, I'm going to be putting your arm back. I'm just going to look and see how I'm going to do it. The nurse is preparing your line. So you're going to be out here shortly. Like, okay, this is going to go fast. I'm already on Norco. So I'm already kind of like, I feel great. There's no pain. This is great. And he looks at it and barely just puts pressure, like kind of just feeling around, and it slides in. Mind you, I was trying to put my shoulder back in by myself using the hood of my car, like pushing up on my car. That didn't work for me. So, barely any pressure, it slides in. He looks at it and he can feel it moving around in there. And he goes, you need to see an orthopedic surgeon immediately. That is not going to fix itself. You need surgery as soon as possible. I'm like, great, now I got to be out of work longer. This is fantastic. So, because obviously I've got to provide for him. I've got rent to pay. I've got bills, So I'm like, man, that's more stress added onto this. So, since I did it at work, I had to go through this whole approval process. I had to go to this place called Concentra, which was horrible. I was literally there for probably 5 hours to be seen, given a note, and told that I have to be approved to get surgery through all these other people first before I can actually get taken care of. So mind you, I waited 2 months just to find out I wasn't approved by them to get the surgery I needed. So I was like, you know what? I have good insurance. I'm just going to call my own doctor. I'm going to go do my own thing. I call the doctor the next morning after I found out I wasn't approved. Even my boss was really mad because they called my boss to let him know I wasn't approved. And that's when the first way I found out before they sent me a letter. He pulled me in the office while he's on the phone call, like ending the phone call with them. He calls me in. I go in and I hear him talking on the phone through the door. And he's yelling at them. Like, this is ridiculous. She did it here. It's on camera. Like, he is awesome. Like, he is like the dad of my store, and he's great. Like, my managers, I love them. Like, they're my family, and I love to work there. I'm so happy to work at the store I do. And he was like, I'm so mad right now. He goes, they just told my own daughter no. Like, he goes, I was trying to get them to pay, like, to cover it. He goes, I did everything I could think of to do. He goes, I just kind of gave him a piece of my mind. He goes, I just wanted to tell you that they called me to let you know you weren't approved. I was like, thanks. Like, I appreciate that. Like, thank you for having my back. Like, you're great. So the next day, I was off the next day after that happened. So I called my own doctor. I found a surgeon down the street from where I live because there's a hospital literally maybe a mile away from my house. So they had a surgeon there. I called them. They're like, okay, where did you get images done? We're just going to request them. They called me back within 30 minutes of me calling them. And she calls and she goes, he wants to see you immediately. Can you come in on this day? It was like a day, like 2 days later or something. I go, yeah, of course, no problem. I go in there. He takes one look at my shoulder. Mind you, I've been in a sling for like 2.5 months at this point because I was told to not use it. No weight, nothing. And this is by the Concentra doctor. I was told, do not use that shoulder. I was told by the ER surgeon, do not use your shoulder. And obviously, I've got him. I've got to take care of him. I've got to change diapers. I got to do everything. So I figured out how to change diapers with one arm. That's a skill right there. Especially, it's a mom skill, okay? So anyway, I learned how to change diapers with one arm and everything. I was told, do not use it. So I go in. He shows me my x-rays, and you can see in there, because I did an MRI as well. And you can see everything in there. And he goes, we're going to schedule surgery for this day. And it was 2 weeks out. So I go to work. I get everything approved. I apply for my disability payments. Got all of that was taken care of. Like, they were like a no hassle. My doctor's like, anything you need, I will sign. He's like, you let me know, and I will take care of it. He goes, I want you out for 6 months. I want you to do this, this, and this. So basically, they like lined everything up for me. All I had to do was give them paperwork. Like I would be mailed the paperwork. I just take it in for them, and they would send it back for me. Like, this office was great. So anyway, all that was taken care of. I go in for surgery. It was honestly like not a bad recovery. The worst part was sleeping because, you wake up in the night, your painkillers worn off. One thing I want to mention is the painkillers. Obviously, they're going to give you something heavy duty. I was on narco. I was on anti-inflammatories. I was on all these medications. I was on for like no nausea meds, everything. I was so out of it that I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't move. And I hate being like that. Like, I had to do things. And obviously, taking care of a kid, you can't be like that. So after maybe, I think, 2 days of taking painkillers, I stopped taking painkillers because I didn't like how I felt. I was like, I would rather be in pain than feel like this. So I stopped taking them. And then after about 2 months like that, I went back in for my next checkup. And he started me on therapy. So I did 6 weeks of therapy, 2 times a week. And therapy was actually not bad. I actually improved really, really, really fast, which was great. And so I just had my last appointment about a week ago. And I was supposed to return to work this week. And I was so excited to, like, go back to my job, see everybody again, get a nice routine going. He tells me I can't go back to work because I am a flexible person, like, very flexible. So my shoulder, when I lift it up and he felt it, it's not tight enough. So basically, I have to do a whole second round, another 6 weeks of therapy before I can return to work because I have to strengthen my muscles, and he wants my shoulder to be tighter in the socket. So I need to strengthen the muscles to keep my shoulder in the socket. He said if I go back too soon, my shoulder is going to come back out again. So I'm not going to risk that, obviously, again. I am going to do what he says. I'm going to go to therapy. I'm going to have a nice fixed shoulder. I mean, you can tell they're still a little bit off. Like, this one still sits a tad higher. But it wasn't bad because all I have are these tiny little scars on each side of my shoulder, which is not bad at all. But in the end, what I did was, like, the thicker cartilage that holds your shoulder in place, I tore all of it. So nothing was holding my shoulder in place. Since I dislocated, the muscle was loose. And by the time I had surgery, I had dislocated my shoulder over 8 times total. So it was pretty damaged. They showed me the x-rays, but like the images from the surgery. And I didn't have very much cartilage left in my shoulder after the surgery because they said since I dislocated sometimes, it was just a shredded mess. So they cleaned out everything they could. They sewed back together what they could, and they tightened the muscle again. So that's all put back together. I do have spots where there is no cartilage in my arm, so you could, like, see the bone spots, like little white circles of just bone, just nothing covering it anymore, which is not how it's supposed to be. If you've seen, like, diagrams and everything in school or just in magazines or whatever, there is a layer of cartilage between your bone that keeps it from rubbing and everything. It's like a cushion. I don't have that in certain parts of my shoulder anymore. So I'm really hoping it doesn't cause future pain or issues, but we'll see. But the worst thing I still have issues with is sleeping. I readjust constantly throughout the night, and I mean constant. Like, I'm waking up because I got dead arm, I'm rolling the other way. It just stinks, I'll be honest. And I do have days where my shoulder hurts and stuff, but I'm getting there. I've had it swell up, and it's just, there's good days and bad. There's always going to be, I feel like, but I am so thankful to the doctor, the nurses, everyone that helped me, my bosses for being so understanding, and like, I couldn't be happier for everybody that's in my life. I've had all the help from my friends, taking care of him, and my family, like, with all their support. I don't think I could do that kind of thing if I didn't have a good support system. That was my biggest worry, was getting him taken care of, my bills, like, everything. Like, I think it was more stress, like, feeling like I was going to be out of work than having surgery. I was more terrified of being out of work than having surgery. But in the end, everything's working out. I've got another 6 weeks till I can go back to work, and I'm really excited to go back to work with my friends. I miss everybody. But until then, I will be making makeup videos, going to therapy, and hanging out with my little man over there, whose birthday is actually next Friday. So we're going to take him to Monster Jam, so maybe I'll do a little vlog on that, so we'll see. And anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed my injury story. And I hope you can learn from my lesson and my mistakes too. If you get hurt or dislocate something, or you think something's broken, please go get help. Don't be like me. I waited too long, and look where I'm at. They told me I should have had surgery the first time I dislocated my shoulder. So lesson learned. When you're hurt, it's serious. Okay? So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and then follow me on my Instagram at HaleyMay_makeup. Please on there. And anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later, and I promise to make more videos soon. Bye.